Remember that area of triangle equals half times the base times the height. So for triangle PRS, which is the bigger triangle, we don't have the base, but thankfully we have the height. The height is 14.4 centimeters. In this case, we can't use Pythagoras theorem because for Pythagoras theorem, we need two of the sides. If we had the length of PS, which we do, and we also had the length of PR, we would have been able to find the length RS with Pythagoras theorem. Unfortunately, we only have PS. So that means we need to get a little more creative. Recall in the last exercise, we found the length of PT. We found it as 8 centimeters. So now that we know that PT is 8 centimeters and PS is 14.4 centimeters, we can find the scaling factor. The scaling factor is basically what would you multiply with the smaller one to get the bigger one, or you can also work in the opposite direction. What would you multiply the bigger one to get the smaller one, or what would you divide the bigger one to get the smaller one? So we're going to get the scaling factor for our shape here. We're going to get the scaling factor for our shape here. And that's basically 14.4 centimeters divided by 8 centimeters. And that gives us a scaling factor of 1.8. Remember, it's a factor, so we don't need to have any units. What does this 1.8 mean for us? It means that for the smaller shape, all we need to do is multiply the length of a side by this scaling factor, and then we're going to get the length of the corresponding side in the bigger shape. Since we have PQ as 10 centimeters, it means PR would be 10 centimeters times our scaling factor 1.8, which gives us 18 centimeters. We have QT is 6 centimeters. So RS, which is the corresponding side in the bigger triangle, would be 6 centimeters times 1.8, which is 10.8 centimeters. That's how the scaling factor works. So now that we have our RS, we can find the area of triangle PRS. So the area of triangle PRS would then be half times 10.8 centimeters times 14.4 centimeters. Two would go into 10.8 and give us 5.4. And then our area for PRS would be 5.4 centimeters times 14.4 centimeters, which is 77.76 centimeter square. Now we have that the area of triangle PQT is 24 centimeters squared. and the area of triangle PRS is 77.76 centimeters squared. So the area of quadrilateral QRST would be PRS minus PQT. Quite simply, that would give us 77.76 centimeters squared minus 24 centimeters squared, which leaves us with 53.76 centimeter squared. Before we go, I want to show you something else that the scaling factor can help us accomplish. Remember that the scaling factor was 1.8. And what that meant was that all we had to do was multiply the length of the smaller side with 1.8 and it would give us the length of the corresponding bigger side. But the scaling factor can also be used to find area. But for area, instead of just multiplying by the scaling factor, we're going to multiply by the square of the scaling factor. The area of triangle PQT is 24 centimeters squared. And so if we want to get the area of triangle PRS, we could just do 24 cm squared times 1.8 squared. And of course, if you want to write that another way, 1.8 squared is 1.8 times 1.8. If we punch that into a calculator, we have that the area of triangle PRS is still 77.76 centimeter squared. That's a very neat trick, all because we knew our scaling factor. In the same vein, if you want to use it for volume, you just say the cube of the scaling factor. So it would be 1.8 times 1.8 times 1.8 if this was a 3D shape, but it's a 2D shape. So we can only find the area. Congratulations, you were able to go from knowing nothing to practically knowing everything. We looked at mathematical similarity between our two triangles. We did a bit of Pythagoras theorem in the smaller triangle. And finally, we were able to apply our knowledge of mensuration, finding the area of shapes. Remember, the formula for area of a triangle is half times the base times the height. Great job finding all the unknowns. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you have any questions or you need direct math tutoring, feel free to email us at theroadtutors@gmail.com. Please like this video, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, keep dorowing.